Hi YouTube, it's Helen of Borg here. Today I'd like to discuss the Mandela Effect with everybody. For those who haven't done any research on this phenomenon yet, I'll just give you a very brief overview of what it actually is. As you might have gathered, it's actually named after Nelson Mandela. Now, official history currently has him as having died in December of 2013. I mean, I remember him dying in that date, but there are numerous people around the internet who believe that he died previous to that. There's quite a lot of people, for instance, who believe that he died in 1991, and there's some other people who believe that he died in the 1980s, that they actually remember him dying. They remember his death being announced on the news. Now, I can understand people being out by perhaps 1 or 2 months if they've got a poor memory, but most people wouldn't be out by multiple decades. I mean, that's just ridiculous. There's been a whole host of other timeline anomalies as well. Some of them are which to do with product labels and movies. Now, I think it's quite likely that quite a few of you have seen Star Wars. If you have seen the first Star Wars films, especially The Empire Strikes Back, you'll remember Darth Vader coming out with the iconic line, "Luke, I am your father." Now, if you have an old VHS tape of that, I'd like you to do something. Take that tape out and play it. And listen to that scene again. Especially if you've watched it multiple times and you remember that scene by heart. Go on, take it out, stick it in and just fast forward and watch that scene. And you will not hear that line. What you're now going to hear is, "No, I am your father." It's a very, very strange alteration, to say the least, and there's been a lot of people talking about it here on YouTube especially. There are other things that have been changed as well. I mean, there's quite a lot of people, especially about my age group, we grow up watching Disney's Snow White. Now, you probably all remember the evil queen, and she goes up to the mirror and she says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" Now, nearly every single person that I have asked remembers that line as being "Mirror, mirror." However, when you go back and look at that movie, that line's changed as well. It's now "Magic mirror on the wall." So you see, that's pretty bizarre. There is even still, to this day, there's Disney memorabilia about with "Mirror, mirror." Now, why would that be the case? Why would there still be memorabilia out for a line in a Disney film that was apparently never said? Because that's the sort of thing that a child who is a fan of these Disney movies would pick up on something like that pretty much straight away. I know for a sure fact I would have done had I been a child. Now, I know, of course, that the majority of children now will only ever remember it as Magic Mirror. They're simply too young to remember what it was before. There's other examples as well. Anybody who's watched Forrest Gump, that line that says, "Life is like a box of chocolates." Not anymore. it's now life was like a box of chocolates. So that's quite a subtle change. It's gone from present tense to a past tense line, which I think's kind of strange. And there are a whole host of other ones as well. I'm not going to get into all of them. I'll be here all day. Company logos have been altered as well. I'd suggest anybody who drives a Ford car, nip outside, take a look at your car, take a look at the logo on your car. And what you should now notice is that on the F there is a squiggly little bit on there. And that squiggly little bit wasn't there previously. Now, some of you might remember the symbol has always been that. There's a fair few people who do. However, there's a lot of us who remember it otherwise. And I never remembered that squiggly little bit. I only noticed it a few weeks ago. The same goes for those of you who are driving Volvos. Now, the current Volvo symbol is, well, it's got the word Volvo, and it's in a circle. It's like a male symbol on it. It wasn't actually a male symbol before. It was just a circle with the word Volvo inside. So that one's also changed. CocaCola, that's altered as well. And what's more, these companies have actually had people phoning them up and everything, and they've said, no, this has always been a symbol since the beginning of time, since the company was founded. The actual spelling of Coca-Cola is changed. I remember it as being COKE hyphen, it was like a wavy hyphen, and it was in the middle. It wasn't that stupid little dot that was there. And then obviously the word cola. So that's changed. I mean, at what point that changed, I'm not sure, because I don't drink the stuff. It's not good for you anyway. But for the people who do, there's been quite a lot of people who have noticed that effect, whereas other people have not noticed. McDonald's, small c, Donald's it is now. I have a recollection of it being MAC Donald's. Again, not somewhere I go often, but it's the kind of thing that you'll notice. And there's lots and lots and lots of these little examples of things that have been changing. I mean, at first I just thought it was companies updating the logos, It's natural for people to assume that, but then when you find out that it's actually a change in the timeline and that some people are remembering it the old way, but, there's a lot of people, whole host of people who just don't recall it ever being any different, then you know for sure that something's going on, because if that wasn't the case, if it was just people updating the logo, everybody would go, oh yeah, I remember that old logo. I wonder how come they changed that. So no, it's not the companies that are changing it. It's a genuine paranormal effect. Now, okay, it might not make any impact on your life, these small peripheral changes. However, there have been some changes which are far larger. And one of those changes is to our world map. Now, if you haven't had a look at the world map in a long time, as I hadn't up until recently, I suggest you go take a look on Google Images and prepare to be amazed. Now, the first thing that stuck out in my mind was the actual positioning of the South American continent. It's much further east than it was, much further east, because he used to be more or less directly below North America. It no longer is. I mean, there's people who live in the States who I could fly from the US to a location in South America, and they found that the duration of their flights somehow changed around like June, July sort of time last year. And that the actual time of the dusk and dawn has changed, and that kind of thing. Now, if something hadn't have happened, it would be impossible for the duration of the flight to change, especially if they were flying in a straight line, which on all occasions they were. So that would prove the anomaly. So as you look at the map, that's one of the largest changes that have occurred. Africa appears to not be as large as it was. It's very slightly different shape. I mean, it used to be a little bit narrower at the tip of Africa. Australia is further north. And New Zealand is in the wrong place relative to Australia, I can tell you that now. There's some other changes as well. You might notice now that Spain and Morocco are closer together. In fact, there's only like a short ferry ride between them. Probably not much more than what there is between Dover and Calais, to be fair. It's quite a short distance. Now, they used to be further apart than that, a lot further apart. Italy looks different to me as well. It used to look more like a boot, with Sicily a bit further apart from it. Now it looks, I think, a bit more like a high-heeled shoe. So the shape of that country has changed. And also notice as well Greenland as well. That seems to have got quite a lot larger. So that bit's quite confusing as well. The other thing I noticed as well is that the country called Mongolia it's appeared out of nowhere. Mongolia weren't on any map when I was a kid. Definitely weren't. I mean, from my memory and recollection, Mongolia had been conquered by China centuries ago. There was no country called Mongolia. It was Chinese territory, that was it, which is probably the reason why a lot of people are looking at China now and saying, well, that country's quite a lot smaller than it should be. Seems somehow the Russian Federation is larger than it was as well. There's no way it was quite this big. So, yeah, look at the oceans. I mean, the Atlantic is much more narrow than it actually was. It seems to have lost around a third of its water. And then you have a look at the Pacific Ocean. Now, when you take a look on Google Earth, it allows you to spin the globe around and have a look. Now, that ocean is currently covering about half of the planet. Do you remember that on your globe when you were growing up? I mean, I grew up with there being globes in the classroom. I had a globe once as I think it was a birthday or a Christmas present when I was growing up. So I think I'd have noticed if at a certain angle you could have just seen ocean. I'm a bit nitpicky that way, so it's the kind of thing I would have noticed. But no, that's almost certainly changed. And while we're on the subject of geography, I'd also like to draw people's attention to the stars. You know, it's currently, early autumn here, but I can't wait to see this constellation of Orion come up. Now, the reason being is because it's been brought to my attention by another YouTube video that was made by a guy in Australia, and he was saying that the stars have changed. I thought, what? As you do. And I had a look at the constellation of Orion, and it's a mirror image. Now, how do I know this? Now, I like to have a look at the stars. I like to learn about stars, the life cycle of stars, and all that sort of thing. And I know that in the constellation of Orion, there is a red giant star called Betelgeuse. Now, that used to be, from our perspective, the top right-hand side of the constellation. It no longer is, it's the top left-hand side. And to top things off, official science now puts us much, much closer to the middle of the galaxy than we actually were. We used to be on the outer parts, the Sagittarius arm. We were literally in the suburbs of the Milky Way. Now, we're not like right close to the supermassive black hole in the centre, but we're a lot more further in. And quite clearly, the reason for the mirror image of Orion is because we're looking at it from the other side. Now, how did that happen? Something really weird is definitely going on. By his calculation, we've moved 80 to 90,000 light years. That is some pretty astronomical distance there. That's huge. Might also explain why astrology's changed slightly as well. Most of the star signs are the same, but Capricorn, which used to just be a mountain goat, is now some very strange sea goat creature, which a lot of people don't remember. In fact, that one's new. That one's some point this year. I wouldn't say much longer than 3 months ago that one has changed. So, with all of these alterations going on, I think it's important for us to know the reasons why this is happening. Now, there's been a hell of a lot of different theories that I've looked at on the internet. There's some people, especially those with a religious flair, who are saying, oh, it's the end times, it's the Great Deception, all that sort of thing. Well, it's possible that we could be in end times. There is some evidence of that, but I don't think the Mandela Effect is entirely to do with that. I think it's got a hell of a lot more to do with the use of D-wave quantum computers by companies such as CERN. Now, those companies, what they're actually doing when they use a quantum computer, that quantum computer actually links into quantum computers from parallel dimensions. Yes, folks, parallel dimensions are real. They do exist. It's scientifically proven they exist. And because the quantum computer has got all this power from all the different computers in all these different dimensions. In fact, every dimension in which that parallel computer also exists, it's got a hell of a lot more computing power. Now, unfortunately, when this technology is used, it's literally ripped the veil open between the dimensions. And of course, timelines get polluted. Things have been changed in history. Take a look at Hitler's eyes, folks. They used to be brown, now they're blue. Yeah, history too. So it's not something that's just editing modern things either. I mean, take a look at your Bible. Some places in the Bible have emojis now. In the old King James, the old King James. Yeah, really weird. Now says that the wolf will dwell with the lamb. It's not the lion will lie down with the lamb. So yeah, there's that too. So this is the reason why things are changing. Why the geography is slightly different. Why we're not even the same place within the Milky Way. It's actually because the different dimensions. They could either be merging the dimensions, or they could be doing direct swaps where when you realise everything's different, you're like, how did that happen? Whereas it could just be your consciousness has gone from like one reality to another reality. There's all sorts of theories out there. At this point, the only thing I'm going to do is keep an open mind, keep an eye out for more of these Mandela effects. That's about the best as any of us can do. I'd say there's no reason to necessarily panic about it, but honest to God, if you're one of those people who is organising any of those damn experiments that's doing it, do you mind stop fucking with reality, please? Thank you.